What is up, everybody? Welcome to Mike and Kris Show, episode
6. I need your finger.
Yep. Tell me what you just said right before. This is episode
6, bitches.
Episode 6, bitches, because we're excited.
And by bitches, I mean very nicely.
Absolutely.
Obviously.
Absolutely. And it's a great day because today is someone's birthday and not who you might think. It's our boy Shadow.
Yeah.
How old is he?
He's 5.
5. Shadow is one of our 2 dogs. He's a white German Shepherd Husky mix, and he's full of adventure, and we love him.
He's our greatest adventure.
He's a great adventure.
Yeah. He's sleeping right behind me right now.
Yes. So, for Shadow's birthday, after we talk about a couple other things, we're going to dive into some dog stuff because
we get a lot of
questions on what do we feed our dogs, how do we teach them to walk right beside me without a leash. So, we're definitely going to get into that as our dogs are our children.
Yep.
Essentially, right?
Furry-legged kids.
They are. That's my babies. Anyways, we got the holidays coming right around the corner.
Wild.
And I thought, I thought it would be kind of cool to share what you did yesterday to show appreciation for the delivery drivers.
Oh, I was like, where are you going with this?
Yeah.
We just got a bunch of snacks that we love, and we put them outside for them to grab with a little note.
And you know what the power of editing? We'll show them right here. Boom!
Oh.
Now you're looking at it.
There you go.
They're looking at it.
Isn't it awesome?
It
you
is
guys,
awesome.
Which snack would you grab?
It's the little things that make such a big difference.
Especially this year.
And
I mean, literally even just smiling at someone.
Totally.
Even from a distance, whatever it is.
Totally.
You know?
And because of all of these delivery drivers, whether it be FedEx or UPS or Amazon or whatever it is, all these people stepping up, a lot of people are able to celebrate these holidays and get gifts that maybe they can't go to a mall because the malls aren't open or it's too difficult to go to a store or whatever. So credit is due there.
Grateful.
Right? So we're grateful. So it's
literally all of our holiday shopping was done online. All of it. Every single bit of it.
Well.
So we are grateful. Grateful.
Very grateful. If you're a delivery driver, to all of those working during these difficult times, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for what you do.
Yep.
Right?
So we got some snacks out for them.
So we got some snacks.
In the morning when we put it out, we say we're open for business.
I did a little restock this morning, and then I put it out there, and I told Kristen, "Hey, babe, I put it out. We're open for business."
We're good.
Yeah, because I kind of attacked the snack bowl last night.
Oh, I totally forgot you did.
Because you put all kinds of good stuff in there.
I basically expected this. I bought extras because of this. I know.
I might have to attack that again later.
We could always buy more.
I know, right? Okay, well, first off, so we wanted to address, before we get into dog stuff, something that gets brought up a lot, a question that we're always asked. So it'd be good to just kind of talk about it here briefly.
Yeah.
So we can point people to it. And one of the most common questions that we get is, are you having children? That's part 1. And then part 2, well, let's go over that first.
You got to go over part 1 first.
Okay. So how would you like to start on that question?
Should we kind of start what brought us to this decision?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'll share that part. I'm curious how much of this you remember, but it was shortly before my last surgery. It was the end of 2010. It was like December, so 10 years ago. Isn't that crazy?
My God.
Wow, like 10 years ago right now.
Okay.
So we were actually thinking of starting a family because when you have an autoimmune disease, there's a high likelihood that when you're pregnant, it will go into remission because your immune system essentially shuts down. When you have an autoimmune disease, your immune system is overreacting. Doesn't always happen, but my doctors thought maybe this would be a good way to get you into remission, which is kind of an interesting thought to have children.
Be very specific. So we were told that it would probably be a very good...
Because I was sick, yeah.
Because you were sick, if you got pregnant,
yeah,
that you could put your disease into remission.
Yes. but they also wanted to keep me on the medications that was on at the time.
Yeah.
So given that, I would be high risk. And so we had all these appointments set up. So Mike and I decided, you know what? Yeah, let's start a family. Let's just go for it. So funny how the universe works, but we had all of our high-risk appointments, pregnancy doctors, all of these things lined up for January of 2011. And as it would turn out, towards the end of December 2010, so before those appointments, I ended up in the hospital one last time over Christmas, and that's when I knew that I had to have surgery. There was no, like, get pregnant and hopefully go into remission. Like, that was out of the question at that point. And so we canceled all the appointments, put our planning off, had the surgery, and I don't feel like it was that long after surgery that we kind of just almost naturally rerouted our path. We both knew together that children weren't for us.
Something clicked.
Yeah, while we love kids, we have, a niece and 2 nephews that we absolutely adore. They're just not for us. They're not on our path. But yeah, something clicked for us.
We really, really wanted children there.
Yeah.
And we were even told at one point from, I forget which doctors it was, that it would not be a good idea, or we would not be able to have children. Do you remember that?
You mean
at
afterwards?
One point afterwards, yeah.
Well, that was part of my surgery. That's why, to get into details graphic, that's why they didn't take out my rectum along with my colon, because your rectum is right next to your, I'm blanking on the word.
Uterus.
Uterus, thank you. Your rectum is right next to your uterus, and so they didn't want to touch that area. So they said I could have children. But they don't know. You never know until you try. That's
I guess
the truth
where
of
I
it.
was going at with that is they were it was almost starting to sound discouraging about us having children, but that's not what stopped us.
No.
My whole point is they could have said you're not able to have kids, and if we wanted them, we would have had them.
Totally. There's so many ways to do it.
Right.
Yeah.
But for whatever reason, something clicked, and we just had this inner knowing that our job here is to basically devote our time and our energy towards helping others.
It's like parenting the world in a different way,
Right. Just giving love.
Absolutely, yeah.
Parenting sounds a little strange,
parenting.
but yeah, just
Motherly love.
giving love in the best way we know how in order to help make this world a better place. It's like it kind of happened. And this was after I went through an opiate addiction. This is after
We had so many things
you were
happen
really
in such a
sick,
small amount of time.
but it just kind of clicked, and then we both just knew it, and then we're both okay with it.
Yeah. I will say for me, I definitely grieved it a little bit, because I think for women, maybe it's different for some women, that I thought my whole life that I would be a mom to human children. My entire life. Like, I remember in high school, like, planning out names and things like that, and like my home ec classes. So I grieved it a little bit, but I also knew that it was the right decision. And it's interesting looking back at how we were planning to start a family and all that, and we got rerouted.
And then life happened?
Yeah, because that's how I believe how things work. When things seem like they're going so wrong and something's not working out, you're really just being pivoted in a different direction.
Right.
And that's what it was for us, I think. Well, I would say I know that's what it was for us.
Absolutely. For sure.
So yeah, that's really where we are just at our lives. And we're very comfortable with that decision.
We are very comfortable with that decision, and I'm very blessed to have my 2 boys right behind me.
Yeah, exactly.
One sleeping on the floor, one sleeping in his bed. Except they got tails.
Exactly.
So with that being said, another common question that we're asked. Do you want to say that one?
So it's basically along the lines of, because we've talked about this often on social media, because we get that question often. So we've talked about it publicly, and not all of our readers approve. Like, I've gotten hate because of it, and I just don't care.
Weird.
Very strange. It's very strange when someone else cares so deeply about another person's life that they judge their decisions. But anyway, I digress. So the question that we get often from readers is people who are in kind of the same alignment as us and decided that they don't want children either because
For whatever reason.
Yeah,
It's
quite
up to them.
frankly, it's
Doesn't
becoming
matter.
a more popular decision because it
doesn't
used to
matter.
be you get married, you have kids, like it was kind of expected
Right.
of you. And things have changed. We're in freaking 2020, you know?
Right.
Things change, things evolve. And they have this decision as well that are similar to us, but they say get judgment from family or friends or strangers, whoever it is, that say they're gonna regret it or, oh my gosh, you don't know what you're missing out on. You're never gonna know this type of love, whatever it is.
What a
that
shame. I think
What-
someone
what a
said that.
shame.
What a shame.
What a shame. Someone talked about there wouldn't be enough population because we decided to not have children. I'm like,
Yeah.
but anyway.
Okay.
But yeah, that's really the question is people getting hate from someone they know or don't know because of their decision not to have children and how we go about that. So you want to talk about how we go about it? We're the same. in
Well,
that.
my perspective is pretty simple. When it comes to other people caring so much why we don't have children, I don't give a shit.
I don't
You know,
care,
I've gotten to a point in my life where so I think about what would it take for someone to get so upset about our decision to not have children. I think just that idea in itself is extremely irrational.
It's a
And-
projection from someone else.
Well,
It's a
it's
projection,
unreasonable.
yeah.
And to me, it's like, why would I get upset over that? And it's not, people are, they can have whatever views they want.
Totally.
And it's not up to me to judge them for their views. And if they
Or
want
try to even change them.
right, if they want to feel a certain way and think that we're stupid or doing the wrong thing for not having kids, that's their deal. That's cool. I'm not going to waste time, energy, or emotion on wondering why they think like that.
Or, oh my gosh, changing your decision based on someone else's thoughts.
Yeah.
It's like, I mean, obviously we never would, but I'm just saying that I think when you know why you're doing something and what brought you to that decision, it's a lot easier to stand firm in your ground. I mean, we're blessed that our family and friends, they've always 100% supported us in this decision. We've never gotten any hate.
And if they didn't, they've never said anything.
And if they didn't, it'd be a whole nother conversation.
But at the same time, I don't feel like they ever would because they know who we are. They
Yeah,
know what's
exactly.
important to us and they know what we're doing.
Exactly.
It's not like we're like, no, I don't want kids because I want to get drunk every night and party. But hey, even if that's what you love, if that's what lights you up, then you're allowed to do it.
Yeah. Your life.
This is a free world, then you do what you want.
Yeah.
Right? It's like, who are we to judge on such a personal decision?
Yeah. Even that question of, for some people, asking a woman if they're going to have children, you don't know if that person's been trying for 10 years
Totally.
and has had 30 miscarriages. You
Absolutely.
just don't know because that's another side of the conversation that often gets brought up is people are so hurt when others ask them. So it's almost like, why is it anyone else's business?
It's a sensitive subject.
It's very, yeah. It's not for us
isn't
because
for
we're
us.
comfortable with it. I don't
Right.
care telling people,
Right.
kids aren't for us.
Yeah.
Human children.
And if someone thinks I'm doing the wrong thing, then that's their decision.
Yeah.
And I'm okay with that, but I don't give a shit.
I think the less attachment you can have to what others think of you, the better it's going to be. Because that's just the point we're at. And it took us years to get here to the point where we just don't care what other people think. We're going to live our life because we know who we are and we know we're good people,
Yes.
So that's what I would say.
I agree. If I would say this, if anyone ever says something that really upsets you, I realize in the moment it's kind of hard and you might have like an emotional reaction, but really think about it and think about the mindset or mind frame that someone needs to be in order to say something that may be so hurtful to you. And then also consider that maybe they were having a bad day or maybe something happened to them or they're just projecting their beliefs onto you.
Yeah.
It is what it is, but you can get to a place to where you can just deflect these things. People come at you with hate and you can just deflect it. Yeah. And I feel like Instagram has helped us with this.
Instagram taught me this.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Because
I was really terrible
when
with...
people are sitting behind devices, phones, computers, like, they can kind of type whatever they want.
I call it keyboard courage.
Keyboard courage.
Yeah.
There you go. It's like the things that I read, like, for an example, on like Twitter nowadays, it's like, why is everyone so mean? Why do we have to be so mean? Like,
not everyone.
No, not everyone.
But I know what you mean.
But there's a lot of hate out there.
That's also what is shown, is the hate. You're not going to see the kind people. Often the kind people aren't the ones even commenting.
You know where I see kindness and love? In my life.
Yeah!
Like all the shit that I read on Twitter and everything and all of that hate, I don't see it. I don't see it in real life. I don't see it when I'm out in the store.
It's on the screens.
It's on the screens, but it's like, I feel like it can put you in such a bad funk because it almost gives you this view of the world that what you're reading is what's out there.
Yeah.
When in fact, that's not the case.
At all. Yeah.
At all.
Yeah.
Totally.
Exactly. It's good to have that perspective.
Absolutely.
But yeah, so that's what taught me that boundary, is because I've gotten hate over the years. You know, thankfully it's not something that we get every day, but it definitely happens. And it was almost a means of survival because it would be so easy for me just to throw in the towel on all social media if I listened to those people.
Yeah.
You know, and what they were trying to tell me who I am. But now it's just easy for me to see that anyone who says anything negative to anyone else, anyone who says anything negative to you, they're not happy. Because if you're happy, you're living a good life.
Why would you do that?
We're not going around telling people what they need to be doing and who they should be and who they aren't and all these things. That's just not who we are.
Especially something so personal.
Yeah,
it's not like you're trying to say, hey, try this sandwich out. Yeah. You know, it's like,
you're an idiot for not trying this.
Why don't you have kids? When are you going to have them? What's wrong with you?
Yeah.
What'd you do? You're wrong.
It's a lifelong commitment when you have kids, and we are very aware of that. It would have changed everything had we decided to have children, but we just decided to put our love and our focus elsewhere.
We believe with all of our hearts that we have a mission, and that's what we're doing.
It's a big one.
Our goal is to help make this world a better place, and we're going to do it regardless because that's what's inside. That's what we want to do.
Yep.
We want to share our struggles.
Yep.
So
yep.
That's on that.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to say about that topic?
Should we be moving on to our furry kids?
Anyways, Max and Shadow, I mean, all the animals I've ever had have taught me so much about life, and I'm so lucky to have these boys. We're so fortunate.
Yeah.
And we know that there's so many people out there that, you know, whether you have dogs or cats or whatever, I feel like this conversation will be helpful for you because you can apply certain things, especially like when we talk about like diet with our dogs.
Totally, yeah.
But
it applies to human health.
Totally. But I can't imagine my life without our boys. So this episode is dedicated to my boy Shadow and to all the other dog, cat, whatever animal owners out there.
Turtle owners.
Thank you.
Whatever you got.
I love animals.
Max wants to know why you didn't mention his name.
I did.
Oh, I thought you just said Shadow.
No, of course. Come on. Come on, man. So we've been together since 2002, and within this time frame, we've had this whole journey and adventure of animals, which has led us
an adventure
here to our two boys.
Yeah.
And when we first started dating, we were in an apartment in a smaller room, so we started off, so growing up, I had dogs, I had cats, but I was kind of in this time in my life where I couldn't really have animals. So instead of having like a dog, I did the next best and I went with reptiles, right?
I don't love
fish
reptiles,
before that.
But yeah.
Reptiles, I had lizards,
you had fish.
Tortoises, which are freaking awesome.
Yeah.
They live to like 150.
Yeah.
Obviously, that's crazy.
Gave them to someone else.
we very responsibly gave them to someone else. I had a snake. Let it be known that one of my biggest fears and nightmares used to be snakes. So back in the day, I forced myself to get a snake as a pet and
It
get
was a
over
little
my
one,
fear.
wasn't it?
Well, it started that way, and then it kept getting bigger.
Yeah.
I had it for about a year, and then I gave him to a snake place.
Yeah. A new snake home.
It's called the East Bay Vivarium where we live. It's over in Berkeley, and they specialize in like
That's
reptiles
right,
and
yeah.
stuff.
That's really cool.
It's not like I just said, "Hey man, you want a snake?" But I realized, like at a certain point, it's like these animals, you know, they deserve to live their best lives too, and they live for several years, and I just didn't have the time.
Yeah.
I thought I had the time for all these reptiles, and I didn't. So we went through that phase. We had rabbits at one point,
That's right.
right?
I forgot until this morning when he mentioned this. I was like, oh, that's right. We had an adventure of animals because you had so many reptiles. And then we had rabbits.
Right.
And then was it cat after that?
Then I had a
We
cat.
kind of graduated
Yeah, I had a
from
cat.
really little things to bigger.
And I grew up with cats. And
I did not.
you did not. And then eventually we got to a point to where we started having dogs when we had more time and more
time and
space.
more space. Yeah.
When I
'cause
got my
dogs are a
job
commitment.
in the fire department, and then we got a house.
Yeah.
Because I fully realized, especially with the dogs that I wanted, which are larger dogs, like we did not want to have one in an apartment.
Yeah.
That did not seem...
Our apartment just had like a little upstairs balcony. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not saying it can't be done. I'm just saying for
totally.
us,
Yeah.
that's not what we wanted.
Yeah.
And then here we are. And we've learned so much about animals in this whole process.
Yeah.
And now I feel like we have a great handle on our dogs' health, and we're able to give them the healthy and vibrant lives that they need and deserve.
Yeah.
Right?
We are.
We are.
And it's been a journey getting here. We learned with every animal, especially every dog. We learned.
One of the things that I feel like is most important that we learned is how important it is to give them the right food,
Yeah.
right? When we first started having dogs, and this is a common question that we always get, or people are interested, like, what do you feed your dogs?
Yeah.
Our dogs are super freaking healthy.
Yeah.
Super healthy.
They, knock on wood, never, ever get sick.
Right.
Like, Shadow and Max have never had to go to the vet because something is off with them.
They might get like a little cut.
Yeah, Max
or
had to go
something
once when he got that cut.
from
but
playing,
yeah,
but
like injury.
never have health problems. They
Yeah.
never need dentals. Their teeth are
Never,
always
yeah.
perfect. The vet always says that, and it has to
Yeah.
do with what they chew on, really. So when we first started with dogs, our first dog together, Belle, our chocolate lab, we were doing the kibble
Yeah.
route.
Run of the mill kibble, nothing special.
From Costco.
Yeah.
You know, and just big bag of kibble, put in a big storage container, scoop it out, put it in a bowl, right? And then
She would never finish her food either.
Well, she got bored of it,
Yeah.
right? And then we graduated to organic
Yeah.
kibble,
Yeah.
and then eventually got to a place to where I was actually cooking their food,
Oh
which
my
was
gosh, that
a
was
pain.
that was like a whole day
in
you would spend.
the butt. I would literally
Like every couple weeks, you'd spend a whole day.
I would spend several hours in the kitchen.
Yeah.
And I mean, I thought I was doing the right thing. I mean, that's what it was always like.
Exactly.
I was willing to like be in there for several hours and cook, because our dogs, and at that point we had 2 dogs.
And what brought us to that point is their health issues.
They started having
Yeah.
health issues.
Our lab had thyroid problems. Our Doberman Tyson, who we had before Shadow, developed bone cancer, and so that's when we started to shift things.
Right. But even just other things, like they would have gas.
Oh my gosh,
You know,
Tyson.
their poop.
So bad.
Their poop would smell so bad. And you might be thinking, my poop always smells bad. No, there's different levels. Like if my dog is 30 feet away and he's going poop, like I shouldn't smell that. Really.
And it was really bad. Yeah.
And today I don't. And we'll get into it. Their poop has evolved with what they eat. But when our dogs were eating just straight kibble, organic kibble, whatever it was, they didn't do well. Okay?
Yeah.
And then we graduated to cooking the food, which was basically like I was cooking rice, chicken, what else?
Carrots.
And
we'd add
and
some
I was like
vitamins on top.
Right. And I was kind of making these big tubs of it, and then I would pre-portion it into bags.
Yeah.
And although they really liked it, they liked the flavor and they liked the taste of it, they still continued to have some health problems.
Yeah.
Okay. And then finally, we kept hearing about this raw thing.
Yep.
Right? Like, what is raw? That's crazy. You don't cook it?
What?
I remember one of the first raw food items we did for our dogs is we went to Costco and we bought like organic chicken drumsticks.
Yep.
And it tripped us out because we're like, wait, they eat the bone?
Because you always hear dogs cannot have bones, right? Like meat bones. And we didn't realize it was only cooked.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
Chicken bones when they're cooked will splinter. When they're raw, they're fine.
So after doing, research and everything, we decided, hey, let's try this out. And let's try with adding some of these chicken drumsticks. And I think at first they're probably like, what the hell is this? Like the dog probably looked at me. And then they would eat the heck out of them.
Yeah.
They would just like crunch them up and eat them like it was nothing. And we're like, whoa.
Yeah. So this started before we had Shadow. This was when, I think maybe shortly after we got Max.
Okay. Oh, I thought Shadow was under there licking
No,
my knee.
you're
That was just your leg. So where are we going with that? So I was thinking to myself, so let's take dogs for an example. If they were in the wild, like wolves or whatever, and we weren't to intervene, what do they eat?
Yeah.
Would they go to the kibble tree and eat some kibble? Right? Or it's like, what? Honestly, what do they eat? Because not everyone agrees with dogs eating raw. I've read plenty of things where there's certain vets that are just like, no, that's the wrong thing to do. But the way I look at it and what makes sense to me is in the wild, that's what they eat. Maybe small little creatures, like what do wolves eat?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Mice,
Anything smaller
rats,
than them.
squirrels.
No, probably
I don't know.
bigger animals, honestly.
I don't know. So I think about it, it's like, what can we do to simulate that?
Yeah.
And it's raw.
Totally.
Right? So
And that journey has evolved so much too.
it
Yeah.
It really has. It went from, starting off with like the chicken drumsticks and doing kind of like half and half. And then it got to a point where we were going to the farmer's market and basically getting our meat from there. Because organ meats is a huge one for dogs. One of the most, liver in itself is like animals freaking love it.
Yeah.
There's a reason why the alpha animal, whether it be a lion or a wolf, like whenever they kill an animal, the alpha goes for the liver. There's something about it. Yeah. So
it's incredibly nutrient dense.
Right. But they just started, I don't know, it's weird. We just started cutting up a bunch of different organs and adding, there's also minerals and supplements that you got to put in there. But they just did really well. And then they started eating a lot of bones, and we noticed that their teeth were getting so much cleaner.
So pearly white.
Way more energy. They were losing fat or any inflammation. They were getting more muscular. Just everything was improving. Even their poop began to change. I know that sounds weird, but when animals eat more bones, their poop has a lot more like white in it.
And it doesn't smell.
It doesn't smell.
And they poop a lot less.
Right.
Yeah, and it's very dry.
It's dry. It's almost like crumbly in a way.
Yeah, you can tell it's just like super healthy.
Now, don't get me wrong. if my dog's going to the bathroom and I went up to their butt and I like smelled it, I'm like, okay, yeah, that smells. but there's, if you're like 5 feet away, 10 feet away, you can't smell it.
Yeah.
You can't smell it. And the dog stopped farting.
True that.
So
no issues with gas, bloating, and all that stuff.
right.
Yeah.
The reason we're sharing this isn't to tell you you need to be doing this. My goal in sharing this information is just to give people another perspective, because like us, it's like we love our animals. They're our kids, and we saw them having difficulties or stomach problems. It's like, how can we address this? How can we fix this?
Yeah.
And it was raw food that did it.
Yep. Exactly.
And now we're at a point to where there's a place in San Francisco. It's called SF Raw, and we go there about every month and a half. And they actually, all they do is raw dog food. Mm-hmm. And they kind of make this like formula up to where they put all of the essential...
Everything that the dog needs.
They do like all top quality, like grass-fed, pasture-raised,
wild-caught fish.
Totally.
Yeah.
And
that's why we chose that place, is because it's the best of the best for our dogs.
It's the best of the best,
Yeah.
and it's easy. And is it more expensive? Yeah, it is, absolutely.
100%.
But for us, they're our kids. It's important, and we don't mind spending the money on that. You don't have to spend all that money. There's other things too. Like raw has gotten so popular. Like when I go to the pet food store, like one of the pet food stores we have around here is called Pet Food Express. And I see how they sell raw food.
Yeah.
Frozen raw food. I've even seen it at Whole Foods.
Totally. Yeah, they have it at Whole Foods. You
And
just keep it in the freezer. That's why we can go like every month and a half or
Yeah.
so, because that's how much space we have. We keep all our food in the freezer, but it makes it so easy because they just give us this container
Yeah.
that we divide, and they love it. Their
Yeah.
shadow like spin circles for it.
And it's not just for dogs, it's for cats too.
Yeah.
We don't have a cat right now, but if we did, we would, feed
Yeah.
them raw. As long as they thrived on it,
We
of
could
course.
go once a year.
Yeah, cats, you'd barely...
A little thing.
It'd be relatively inexpensive.
Oh, totally,
to
yeah.
feed a cat like top quality raw food.
Yeah. Max and Shadow are
Compared
big dogs.
to a 130-pound dog.
Yeah.
And that's just one of them.
Exactly.
Right?
They're over 200 pounds together.
I remember Kris and I had a cat together, and she had a lot of stomach problems, and she would throw up a lot. And looking back, it's a lesson that I learned. I didn't understand or put together that the food that I was giving her at the time was making her sick.
When you know better, you do better.
When you know better,
we did
you
not
do better.
know anything back then. That's why I
didn't.
said we've learned with every single dog. It's not like most people get their first dog and are dog experts.
Right.
You learn just as probably parents do with children.
Right.
It's like you learn through raising them.
Totally. And it's like, is it more expensive to feed, like, let's say, a dog raw food than just getting a big bag of food from Costco? Yeah, it is more expensive. But at the same time, it's like, dog more than likely isn't going to have like all these like health issues that they normally would have potentially had
Totally.
on eating kibble, and you save that money from going to the vet.
Yeah.
Right? So there's a balance there.
It's the same with humans. I think, imagine if I didn't eat what my body needed and I had to go to the hospital all the time, how much expense that is.
Right.
Versus you're spending quite a bit of money on good quality food, It's the same thing for doggies.
Absolutely. But we just really want to share that because it's completely changed our lives.
Yeah.
So I can link, you have a good article.
My blog post, yeah.
On a blog post on raw food for dogs.
Yeah, link that down
I'll
there.
link that in the description. Where's it go?
Down here.
Down
You'll see
here.
it right here.
So we'll put that there. But yeah, if I could give anyone advice, it would be to look into feeding your animals raw food.
Especially if they're having health issues.
If they're having health issues,
There's a thing that most conventional vets, obviously not all of them, but most of them are like, oh, you need to put your dog on weight loss food or this special diet. And when you look at the ingredients in those, usually it starts with like soy or corn. Something that's very inflammatory.
Yeah. Yeah,
cheap.
I remember the vet had some prescription diet food.
Yeah.
And I remember looking at the back of the bag, and this was several years ago. Who knows if it's the same? And I won't say the brand, but the first thing was like corn.
Yeah.
Like, wait, what? Like, dogs don't eat corn.
Yeah.
Show me.
Very inexpensive filler. That's what it is.
Right.
Yeah.
But it just, it's like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
So raw food, think about it.
Yeah.
If your dog lived
for thought.
outside like Wolf, what would it eat?
Yeah.
Not corn. Not likely.
Not some corn on the cob.
Not corn. Some of their favorite treats that they love to eat, and we get them from the pet food store. You can get them off Amazon. Number one is bully sticks.
They love some grass-fed bully sticks.
They love bully sticks, and I almost want to grab one out, but then the dogs are going to freak out.
Yeah.
I'm not going to show you one now. Actually, maybe I'll show you on a video. Here's some bully sticks. Check it out. So what's interesting about these, and I never knew what they actually were until my dad told me.
I was going to say, was it your dad?
Yeah.
That's what I thought.
He's like, you know what those are, right? Like, what? He's like, bull dicks. Like, no, it isn't. He's like, look at the ingredients. And I did. It said beef pizzle. I'm like, oh, okay then.
It's true.
It's true.
You can Google it.
Dogs love them. They get kind of smelly, but hey, if you want a good treat, you got those bully sticks. And then another one, which I forget the name of, but I've actually got to get some tonight. So I'm going to I'll drop in a shot right here. Our dogs have been loving
Farmer
these.
something, no hides.
Yeah, something no hide.
I have a picture of it on my phone.
And they have good ingredients. You know, we're always trying to, how do we find good treats for our dogs? Well, we give it to them, we see if they like it, and then we can generally tell if they're having like stomach issues.
Totally.
Because they'll have gas.
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
Yep.
So, any other treats that they love?
Not really right now.
Yeah.
I mean, they love pig ears, but I feel like they were eating too many of those and they started getting gassy.
They were getting gassy, so we stopped with that.
Yeah. I think it was like their bacon, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, we used to go through a lot of different pig ears.
We don't do a ton of different treats, and then they get snacks from what we're eating. So, you know, raw plus snacks.
My suggestion is if you're looking for a treat for your dog and you like come up on something new, just kind of look at the ingredients. Yeah. Use your best judgment. Mm-hmm. Use your intuition. See what you think.
Exactly.
Right?
Yep.
Okay. So next, what is another common topic, what we like to talk about, is how we've gotten our dogs to be so great at walking.
Oh.
Now they walk off leash with us.
Oh, and they're the best.
So
I walked him, he had an appointment yesterday, and I walked him by myself. I took him on a hike, 100% off leash the whole time from our house to the hills up the street. They're amazing. They're the best dogs.
Yeah.
I told him that about 100 times yesterday.
And these are our first dogs that we've ever gotten to walk off leash. And
Yep.
I want to show you something. Let me grab it real quick.
Oh.
All right, so before I show you this awesome, amazing tool that's completely changed our lives, I just want to point out that our dogs, especially Max, used to have absolutely horrible anxiety. Horrible anxiety. And
our dogs are both rescues too.
They are both rescues, and I feel like there's a lot of dogs out there that have anxiety.
Yes.
Or
oh my gosh.
Anytime we would walk Max, like he knew where we're going. We're very fortunate to have some hills next to where we live, and we always bring him up there and play fetch and stuff. And he knows where he wants to go. So as soon as that leash is on, he's seriously like tugging. He would literally pull us up the hill.
Remember, he'd be like,
and he would
breathing
do that
so hard
because he would be choking himself. And as I think about it and I look back, I also now understand that I was projecting my anxiety onto him because I was anxious about the walks because I knew in my head that it's going to be a shit show all the way up the hill. Right?
Exactly. Animals are like a reflection of us.
Did we used to have fun on our walks before the big change? No, it sucked. It's like we knew we had to take them for a walk, but we didn't look forward to it because one was just like, what is going on?
They're so anxious, yeah.
And it would make us angry. And I fully realized now that it's just like your dogs completely run off your energy.
Yeah.
And whatever it is you're holding on to, they're going to pick up on that.
Totally.
And I know a lot of you probably already know this, but for whatever reason, that just didn't click in my head until I saw it, right? So this tool right here completely changed the game for us. And it is an electric dog collar, okay? Now, I know that might sound scary.
I had major judgments about those
Right.
before. It was one of our friends got one for his dog. And do you remember his dog used to be like super crazy? And then we went and visited him and his dog was super chill. And we're like, what did you do? And he showed us this electric collar. I used to think that they were mean and cruel and you're shocking your dog and it's awful, which it is none of that. Maybe some of them are, but this one is not.
So okay, the way that these work is you have the actual collar and then you have
the remote.
This one specifically has two collars connected to one remote, right? So each dog has a collar and then I have the remote. And this does far more than just shocking, okay? So it beeps. There's a beeping, what's the word I'm looking for?
Like a feature.
Feature.
Yeah.
Thank you. There's a beeping feature. And then what we use the most for everything is vibrating. And we're going to get into that. And then, yes, you can apply a small shock if necessary. And the way I see it is if I have to give myself give my dog a small shock in order to stop it from running into the street when there's a car coming, I'm going to do it. And I'm okay with that. And when we very first got this, let it be known, I tested it on myself.
I was going to say, it's not really a shock.
It's like this static. It's like, when you were a kid, did you ever put your tongue on like a 9-volt battery?
That's exactly what it reminds me
Think of something like that. And you can increase the level of it. But I feel like if it's the choice between a small little static shock versus something really bad happening to your dog, that's what's going to happen, okay?
I think it's more the vibration and the shock is more annoying for them. And that's what trains them.
Yeah.
They realize they don't want that.
So this is how we started to use this, is we would put the collars on and Max, first off, Shadow follows Max, right? Max would always pull up the hill and he would be choking himself. So what I would do for Max is I would have this collar on, and as soon as he started pulling me, I would hit the vibrate. It just goes zzz, right? And you can control how much you want to vibrate. So now he's starting to get some sort of
it kind of clicked, like, oh,
it's getting
I don't want to
feedback.
do this because it vibrates and I don't like the vibrate.
Right. So I would vibrate him and I'd correct him and have him come back to me. And then from that point forward, anytime he started to go forward again, I would vibrate him. And I don't know how long it took, but it was really quick.
Oh, it was so fast.
It was super quick.
Yeah.
So we went from...
But it was also our patience and our dedication was a part of that.
In doing it almost daily.
Yeah.
It didn't...
Absolutely.
Yeah, it didn't happen overnight. It's not like he learned one day and then we never had to do it again.
Yeah.
It's something that we truly had to work on.
Yeah.
But within a few weeks, we went from him pulling us up the hill to him being completely chill and having a loose leash. Mm-hmm. And from that point...
And enjoying his walks.
Enjoying his walks.
There was no anxiety. Yeah.
Anxiety was gone, and he didn't even freak out. Both of the dogs wouldn't freak out when we would see another dog. Usually they'd want to pull. They would go crazy. They want to go pull and see a kid or see a small dog, and we'd have this thing and be like, oh, he just wants to play. We would always feel so stupid. He's really friendly. He just wants to play.
Right?
As these big 100-pound dogs come running up to you, right? But it wasn't their fault. It was us. We weren't giving them the proper training, and this tool allowed us a way in order to do so.
It changed everything.
It changed everything. And the walks were more enjoyable for all of us. And it got to a point, the way that I was able to, and let it be known, I'm not a professional dog trainer. I'm just a professional dog lover. And so I'm just telling you what worked for us. So we got to a point to where they would walk next to me with a loose leash, and then I started walking Max off first without his leash. So
I remember that day.
I would take the leash off, and he'd walk.
So I was like, I think Max could walk off leash because he was so just like right by your side the whole time.
Yeah.
And I always had this weird thought, and I don't know where it even came from, but I always thought that dogs that are super disciplined and super trained didn't love their lives, when in fact the opposite is true, because I watched Max and Shadow, but especially Max, transform. He has so much fun on his walks now. There is not an ounce of anxiety there. And he really loves knowing that you're, or me sometimes, in charge.
Right.
And he doesn't have to worry.
Right.
He just follows your lead.
Totally.
That's all he has to do.
And that anxiety that he used to have on the walks is gone, not only on the walks, but here in the house. Yeah. It's completely shifted. This tool has completely changed our lives. Mm-hmm. So that's why we want to share it. We're not advocating for this color specifically. This one's actually a couple years old.
Yeah.
But you can go to like
any pet
your local pet store, Pet Food Express. We're just there. They have them.
Ask the people
Amazon.
too. Ask the people that work there.
Yeah. Talk to them.
Yeah.
And just see what they have. But huge advocate.
Yeah.
In the event there's emergency, you really have to give a little static shock to your dog. You can do that. But what we're saying is there's these other features that doesn't hurt your animal and that will improve the quality of your walks, the quality of their lives. And this is how we did it. This is how we transitioned from having anxious dogs pulling us up the hill to walking off leash. And it was as simple as learning them to walk on leash. Yeah. And then when they were no longer pulling, I removed Max's leash. He would walk right beside me. We did that for a few weeks. Mm-hmm. And then we moved to Shadow because Shadow follows Max.
Exactly.
Max follows me. I'm the alpha in the group. So they all look to me for direction.
Yeah, exactly. And some people might not ever want to off-leash train their dogs, and that's totally cool too.
Yeah.
Like if you don't. But what has changed so much is that literally when we're walking up the street, a cat could run in front of Max and Shadow.
They do all the time.
All the time. Or a person or a little kid or anything, other dogs come by, other dogs bark at them. There's this dog up the street that always kind of snaps at them. And they don't do anything. They have no reaction whatsoever because they know that you're in charge and you have a very calm energy about you.
I do now.
Yeah.
I do now. And they know that I'm going to protect them. And they are the best dogs. And I'm going to be completely honest. I never thought that we would have dogs that would walk so greatly right next to me without a leash.
I don't even think I ever thought it was possible.
It is a dream come true for us. And now all of our little adventures or our walks or our little trips, when we take them with us to the beach, oh my God, the beach. I forgot about that.
Easy.
I used to hate going to the beach with them because they would just want to run and like go play with people. But again, they're huge.
Yeah.
And not everyone's a dog person.
Not everyone wants a giant dog with them.
But now everyone looks at us in amazement at the beach like, how are you doing that? Because we'll just walk and they just walk right beside me.
Oh my gosh, even going up to the hills, we'll have people drive by and you always see them do a double take.
Yeah.
Always, that they're like, what?
Partly because of their behavior and partly because Shadow looks like a wolf dog.
It's very true. He's a giant dog. Yeah, they are awesome.
Look into an electric collar if any of that sounds good to you.
Gives your dog such a peace of mind.
Yeah, for people like us that weren't professional trainers, this did the trick. So
you know what really changed everything too was, I'll never forget it, one day, it was when you were still working as a firefighter, I decided that I was done having dogs that pulled on leashes. Because I used to walk them all the time on my own because you'd be at work. Now we pretty much hike every day together. And I decided I was done and I would do whatever it take. And making that decision is what led us to the point of getting there, because then we're like, okay, what can we do? And then you find solutions from there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. None of it happened overnight. It took work.
Yeah.
But I'm telling you, if you're listening to this and you don't enjoy walking your dogs because they snap at other dogs or they're anxious, just know that it can definitely change. And when it does, those stressful times for you are so much better.
Oh my gosh, it's the best.
I love our walks now.
Best.
So much
There's
better.
always people around and things around, and Shadow might look up and look at the person. Max doesn't even care. Shadow looks up and then just goes back to whatever he's doing. They don't care. Even delivery people coming to our driveway, they don't care.
Yeah.
It's a night and day with them.
It's a dream come true.
So just know, no matter where your pet is starting from, it's possible to get them to where you want them to be.
If we can do it, I assure
Anyone
you,
can do it.
you can do it too.
Yeah.
Okay. So after that, I thought what would be cool before we go is to share some of their favorite dog toys.
We had to wait till last to put this out.
I told Kris, I'm like, we better wait until the end because as soon as we start pulling these things out,
Yeah.
especially Shadow, he's going to want to play.
Yeah.
So one of the common questions that we get is, what kind of toys are you giving your dogs? Because our dogs, like many others, they're chewers. They're aggressive chewers. And most toys, at least in our experience that we got from like the pet food store
Yeah.
or whatever, like they break them in like 30 seconds. And not everyone wants to buy a toy for $20 at the store, bring it home, and then they ruin it,
Yes.
right? So it's like
100%.
finding a good toy that they enjoy.
Yes.
Keyword is that they enjoy. And that doesn't break. Because we've also gone through, like, we've bought toys that are that are meant for aggressive chewers, but they feel like a plastic brick. It's like, my dog doesn't want to play with that. Right?
Exactly. We've gone through so many dog toys to find some of their favorites that last.
Yes. And oddly enough, it's like, besides the toys, okay, number one, I'd say his ultimate favorite toy are tennis balls.
Oh my gosh. Shadow
Tennis
lives
balls.
for tennis balls.
You know,
Yeah.
it's like, you can get tennis balls pretty cheap,
Yeah.
and they freaking love them, and he just loves chewing on them,
Yep.
right? But the thing about tennis balls is, at least with our dogs, they get really like slimy and stuff.
We don't bring them inside.
They're outside toys.
Those are hiking and playing fetch outside.
So with that being said, we're going to show you some of their favorites. There's one brand in particular called Fluff and Tough.
Fluff and Tough.
Fluff and Tough that we found on Amazon, but they also sell them at major pet stores, or at least the ones around us.
Yeah, probably a lot of pet stores have them.
And they've had them for weeks, months.
Yeah.
And we've learned a couple tricks with them, which we'll show you, which can also help prolong the life of the toys.
Yep.
So let me go grab a couple real
Go
quick.
get your Fluff and Toughs.
So as you can see, Shadow has now joined the party because
He's
he's
now
wondering, what are you doing with my toy bin? So I'm going to get to Fluff and Tough. Let's start with these. I'm going to show you the winning toys that have worked in this house. So a win for us are toys that don't get stuck underneath the couch,
Yep.
underneath, you know, where
Or
you have to.
destroyed.
Right. So we try to get like, so these Chuck It toys are awesome. They love these. Relatively inexpensive. It's almost like they have some sort of foam on the inside. And they love to just crunch on these things. But for whatever reason, they don't really tear. So one of the things I was going to tell you about Fluff and Tough toys, and these, we found that one of the ways that dogs tear the toys open so easily is little tags that are on them. So one of the things that you can do, at least that works for us, is, you know, the little tags, you just cut them off.
Tags, loops, anything like that.
Or loops, right? Just cut them off. So
Dogs
these are
are
Chuck
so
It toys
interested in you right now.
here. These are some of their favorites.
Oh, Shadow loves that.
Shadow loves this. We play kick fetch with this. And there's these kind of like holes where they can get their mouths in there. So they love that. I know, buddy. We're getting to your favorites. It's another Chuck It toy here. It's got a little, you can throw it and play fetch, right?
Yeah, Chuck It's awesome.
Chuck It is awesome. Okay. Now these are Fluff and Tough toys. So I'd say they range, I don't know, 10 to 15, $16 or whatever. We've
Some
had
of their
these
favorites.
things for months.
Yeah.
Alligator, and they have like the cutest names. Tank?
Tank. I don't
He's
remember the alligator. I think this is Rocky the raccoon.
Rocky the raccoon.
I always go for, if we buy them on Amazon and not at a local pet store, I go with the highest rated because people rate them and some of them are not as good as others.
Totally. So fluff and tough. And then also in this, before I get to Shadow's favorite toy, so these antlers, we were told that these are for aggressive chewers and they take a lot to break these apart. Our dogs hate these things.
I was going to say it's true because our dogs never eat them.
Yeah.
No.
If you have dogs that love these, then you're lucky. I've tried getting these, and they're not cheap. I've tried getting these for the dogs a couple times. They hate them.
They sniff them all over, and that's it. Yeah.
So, if
Some
you
dogs
have
love them.
if you have any experience with these, let us know.
Yeah.
Because maybe your
Coat 'em
dogs
in
like
peanut
them. It's
butter.
just our dogs freaking hate these things. Okay, and then lastly, I want to show you Shadow's favorite toy
Probably ever.
ever.
Yeah.
So, Kristen bought this toy at the pet store, and what was it?
It was like a little pig and then a little koala.
It looked like a little stuffed
Like
pig,
a little head.
but it was like a ball, and there's
Yeah.
a ball on the inside. And Shadow ripped the ball out of it, and inside was this.
Well, not this exactly.
It was
a smaller version.
It was a smaller version, almost half the size, and he loved it so much, but he kept like
It'd go underneath every piece of furniture that we own.
go under our bed. It would go under the couch.
And he's not good at like getting things himself.
And I'm like, babe, I gotta find a bigger one. So I went to the pet food store, and this was the largest one, and it's just like this.
Loves it. Normally they
Plastic-
squeak, but he, I think, poked it.
There's
maybe.
a squeaker.
Or did you poke
and I
it?
just took like a little ice pick and I poked it out. So now
right.
it's just this. And then you know what I read about these too is supposedly it's good for like their gums and their teeth.
Oh.
I don't know. I
Like
don't know if
toothbrush?
we don't have to
Look, it's
worry
like a
about it
toothbrush.
because they eat bones.
Yeah, Shadow is obsessed.
But you can
with
get
this.
one of these balls for a couple bucks and try it.
I had so many people message me that their dogs are obsessed with these and they last for years. I mean, Shadow is a destructive chewer.
He loves that thing.
Yeah.
I knew we were gonna have to break that out at the very end. But you know, I found those too on Amazon. What did I search? I searched like spiky dog ball, and
Yeah.
those things popped up.
Yeah.
So for those of you that don't want to go to the store, want to try that toy out,
Yep.
get it.
They're
And just for the record, when I did have cats, of all the toys we got our cats, you know what their favorite toy was? A crumpled up piece of binder paper.
Yep.
It's like,
What you brought back.
oh, he wants to play fetch. Get it, buddy. Happy birthday. So anyways, I hope that was helpful. We always get questions about how do you get your dogs to be so well behaved? What kind of treats do you give them? What do
a
you
journey.
feed them? What kind of toys do you give them?
Yep.
See, now he's going crazy.
Yeah. That's why we did it at the end.
So those are some of the best tips. We hope that they help you out. We're not telling you what to do. We just want to offer suggestions.
Yep, this is just what we do. What
And
works for us.
this is the Happy Birthday Shadow episode.
Yeah!
Big
Happy
boys-
birthday, buddy!
Big boy's turning 5, and I need to go to the pet store, and I need to get you more chew stuff, bud.
Yeah,
Right?
exactly.
Well, thank you, everyone, for listening.
Thank you so much. We love you.
This was a
dearly.
fun episode and a nice break from all of
Mix it
the
up. It was heavy.
heavy stuff that we've been talking
Heavy
with,
chats,
like
yeah.
opiate addiction and depression, which we're going to talk about more in the future.
Oh, of course. That
But-
stuff's very important, but it's also, you gotta have fun. You gotta enjoy
gotta have
life.
fun, and you gotta
not
lighten it up.
take things so seriously.
Totally.
That's a big one.
Totally, especially right now.
Yep.
We've got the holidays around the corner, and it's just a fun place to be right now.
Yeah.
So, we love you, and we'll see you in a week.
Yeah, we'll see you for episode
Thank
7.
you for listening. See you soon.
Yep.
Peace.